Hello, I'm Brian Garrick. Today I just want to do a quick video talking a little bit about what I talked in one of my classes, some of the essential tools that I use as a theatrical electrician. I am the head electrician here at the Eccles Theater in Salt Lake City, and I use these tools basically every single day. Probably not when a show runs going on like right now. We have Wicked in, and so right now we're going to put in rehearsal, which is why I'm able to kind of make this video while there's no one in the audience, and I have a little bit of time just sitting around running the house lights in the show. But, nonetheless, not talking about me anymore. Back to the subject of the video. I'm going to be talking about some of the essential tools that I have. And sorry if I'm not, presenting myself correctly. I'm not used to talking in front of a camera, so I'm just doing the best I can. I like making these kind of more casual videos talking about things that I'm really passionate about, talking about, theater and being an electrician, being a stagehand, local stagehand at that. But anyways, I'm just going to get right into it, and I'm going to go right and talking about my patch. This is not my patch, my pouch, my apologies. This is my pouch here. This is my bag that I hold all my tools in. For the most part, I don't usually keep my my wrench in this bag, but I usually, when I'm just storing it in my locker at night, ready for the next day. But this pouch, as you can see, this is a Holstery pouch. It's a Joey pouch from Holstery. I believe they're an Australian company. I love this pouch. I've been using it for years. It's not too deep. It's about 8 inches deep here. You can see as the wrenches. It's nice and sturdy on the sides, so it keeps a nice shape, which I really like. The tools and stuff that I put inside this pouch don't really shift a lot, which you might see with other like chalk bags, which you may see more traditionally used, because they have the cinch at the top. This one also has a cinch at the top. So I feel very comfortable when using this at heights, so I can cinch it down. I don't feel like any of my tools or any things that are sitting in my pocket is gonna fall out. And this is really why I keep a bag like this. You may not see everyone using a bag like this, but I think that it's essential because there's an extra pocket for me to throw shit into, basically. And this is my bag that I use when I'm, I'll just kind of talk about what I keep in my bag, and that'll probably give you a better idea about what is actually it's used for. So you can see, kind of looking into it, I'm going to run some B-roll here so you can kind of see what the top of my bag looks like. I keep a lot of tie line in here. I basically throw all my tie line in here when I'm tying up cable. And yeah, when I'm tying up cable, that's what you use tie line for, unless you're doing it for some other weird reason. I throw all my tie line in here. It's nice to just keep it on hand instead of throwing it on the ground. Makes the props lives a little bit easier so they don't have to clean up after me all the time. It's just a nice place to store it and not really easy for you to reach for it. I keep a roll of E-tape in here, some black E-tape. Sometimes I have other colors in there if I'm, labeling cables and such. But for the most part, just a roll of black E-tape, small thing. Another thing I keep in here is my knife. This is my work knife. You can see it's Milwaukee Fastback. This knife is a flip blade. It's a full edge blade, drop point with serrated and straight edge. I love this knife. It's really great for cutting tie line, great for cutting tape. I don't have to cut rope so often, but it's also great for that. Reason I like this tool very much, and I don't actually carry a traditional multi-tool like a Leatherman, which you may see people use preferably, or more commonly. I don't like keeping a multi-tool on me. I find that most of the tools on them are too small for my use cases, and it's just super bulky, and I'm usually carrying stuff that I don't need on a multi-tool. The only thing that I don't really have is a pair of pliers, but in most cases I can use my C-wrench and get away with it. But the reason I like this tool very much is because it has that knife on it, and I also have a locking extended screwdriver edge. And this guy is interchangeable, and it also comes with a flip. So I have a Phillips edge that I can use for prying. I don't really use it for prying very much because I don't want to break it. Or the Phillips edge for, replacing sockets, just, opening up moving lights, moving up Lecos and such if you're trying to do some maintenance on those. This is great. I had a Gerber arm bar drive. I'll put an image of it right here. It's a little bit smaller than this, kind of similar idea to this. Had a couple more tools on it that I did like, but I didn't like that tool very much because the driver on it, while it was nice and extended, it wasn't locking. And so if you're trying to actually get into things like moving heads and you're at heights and you're trying to open it up and the thing and your screwdriver is bending and opening and not keeping straight, it's very annoying, and I did not like that, and that's why I kind of went away from that, and I got this guy instead. And I really love this one. I keep it sharp. I have a little sharpener that I use, but this is kind of my beat up knife. This is a knife that I don't really care if I lose it. It was like 20 bucks, so it's really, it's durable. It has all the tools that I need on it, and if I lose it, I'm not gonna be heartbroken, because I have lost my knife a couple times. Usually it comes back to me, but you never know. The last thing I keep in it is, funny enough, it's just a little extended piece, Phillips head. I have lots of Phillips heads. I have it in my other tool bag, which I'm actually going to do another video talking about my bigger tool bag when I have more extended projects to do, when I have work calls and such, or I need to do some maintenance on something real quick and I need a specific tool for that. I'll talk about my tool bag in another video. But yeah, I just keep this guy in the bottom. It literally takes up no space. And if I need to get in a little deeper into a light or something, this gives me that little extra edge. So, this one's a DeWalt one, but it really doesn't matter. They're all the same to me. And yeah, that's all I really keep in there. I may also throw some sash in there, but the reason I love having a bag is, especially if I'm working on truss and I need bolts, I can throw all the bolts in there. I can throw the pins in there. I can throw basically anything. This is just my throwaway bag. And when I need to get stuff out of it, I can just dump it out. It's not a big deal. It takes me 2 seconds to put things back into it. It sits on my side. I really love the way that it sits on my side, because it's not as big as a traditional tool bag, where it's big and it's like kind of covering half of your thigh. I really don't like that. This thing, it doesn't bother me at all. I've been using it for years. It's very small. I like it. It doesn't droop anywhere. It just sits nice and compact to my side. I use another belt by Holstery, actually. It's a little bit thicker. I think it's 1.75 inches. And so it's kind of hard to find work pants that are big enough to fit the belt that big. But I love that belt because it's nice and rigid. My last work belt was kind of a ratcheting thing, and the ratchet broke on it, obviously, and so had to get it replaced. But that belt, I feel like it's going to last me a very long time, and it works great with this product here. Very sturdy. I have no doubts that those are going to last me a few more years at least. Next thing that I have here is good old trusty C-wrench. If you are a stagehand, especially an electrician, and you do not carry a C-wrench with you, you're doing it wrong, because there's going to be, I guarantee you, on like 9 out of 10 calls, someone's going to ask you, hey, who has a C-wrench? And if you don't have one, then you're not being very useful in that call. So this is my C-wrench. I had a cheapo Lowe's C-wrench when I was in college, and that got me through most of college. But the thing I didn't like about that C-wrench was because the bearings here, or whatever, the swivel that opens and closes it, it would get caught, especially if I was under tension and I was trying to open it up, getting off of a bolt of a light. It would get stuck, and so I'd have to like hit it or like yank it off, and it would slow me down. But this is an actual Crescent brand C-wrench that has never once failed me. I've been using it for years. This is the oldest tool in my package, or just all of my tools that I have. This one's lasted me the longest, and it literally looks the exact same as when I first got it. I use this tool the most out of all of my tools, and I really can't go wrong with this thing. This thing's made of steel. It's got great handling. 8 inches I feel like is an appropriate size for me. It helps me, break things open. It's got enough leverage on it for most things, especially lights. I just love this thing. I really can't say anything else about it. I think that it's worth the extra money, $20 I think it is, to get this, and it has lasted me years instead of buying a cheapo one or just whatever you get out of a IKEA furniture thing. That's enough to get you started. But I think that if you are doing this every single day like I am, get a reliable tool like this. Alright, continuing on, you can see attached to this guy I have a lanyard. I have an interchangeable hook on here. You can actually just do it with a choke, but I kind of like this. It makes it a little easier for me to take the lanyard on and off if I need to do that. This is like a little skater thing. I think I'll try to find a link and throw it up here. If not, it's really not the biggest deal. But the lanyard that I got is from Setwear. It's a pretty small one. It's not super long, as you can tell here, but it sits nicely on my side. Doesn't droop down super far, especially if I'm in tight congestive spaces, which I usually am. It doesn't get caught on things very easily. Sometimes it does, but that's just what happens when you're wearing a lanyard. I really like this lanyard. It stretches pretty nicely. If I need to, I can kind of wrap it around my arm and attach it like that if I'm working at height and I need to really extend further. But I really like this lanyard. It's lasted me a while. And yeah, it's just like a typical lanyard. You don't have to get this one from Setware. There's plenty of lanyards out there, some cheap ones you can get on Amazon or whatever, or just buy locally, which I prefer buying locally always. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Anyways, you can also see on here, I have a carabiner, and this one is a little bit thicker than you'll typically find on a lanyard. This is not the one that came with this lanyard. This is a Petzl OK carabiner. I think they've changed the name now. I'll throw it up here on the screen so you can actually see. I know it's a little bit dark, but I'll throw some B-roll in there. This is an oval-shaped carabiner. This guy is rated for, what is it, 25 kilonewtons when it's on its major axis. It's a tri-lock carabiner, and I love this thing. I've used it so long. I use it a lot, and I really rely on this carabiner for when I'm in a pinch. Especially, that's why I carry it with my C-wrench, is usually if I'm having to, pull a bearing, or I need a carabiner for whatever reason to attach something, if for some reason a rope's not going to be able to do it with a bowline or a clove hitch, I will use this guy. For the load-in, for the strip for Wicked, we had to take a bunch of our lights off of our side booms, and so I had to continuously bring the rope in and out to, lower the lights down to the person on the deck. And so what we did is I just tied a bowline and then put this on the bottom so I could easily attach a light on there, lower it down. The person on the deck could just take it off the carabiner, and, it's great. I prefer the oval shape because I find it's harder for it to cross-load. And even if it does start cross-loading, it'll flip to the other side. I really like oval-shaped carabiners. Basically all of my carabiners are oval-shaped. I like the tri-lock because it gives me a little bit peace of mind that it's not going to fall apart. It does trip some people up if you're not used to a tri-lock, but I've been using them for years, so I don't have any issues with that. I really love this carabiner. I trust Petzl. I think that they're my favorite brand for professional use case hardware for rigging. I really like them. I recommend this carabiner a lot. It was big for me at first. I wasn't really used to having something like that on my hip, but quickly I got used to it. It's not a big deal. I just love this thing, so I could rave about it all day, but I won't. I'm going to continue on talking about some other things that I really love from my kit, and this is my wire stripper. And I might be extending it a little bit because I don't carry this with me every day. I probably use it maybe like a couple times a month if I need to for a show. But this is part of my toolkit that's easy for me to just grab out. I have a little toolbox sitting in my locker where I have these things in there, so it's a little bit faster for me to take it out and use this. But you can see this is my wire strippers, some classic, I think it's like 6-inch wire strippers. These ones I got from Harbor Freight, so really cheapo ones, but I will say this is my favorite wire strippers I've ever used. This thing's only like $3, and I have used the Klein ones. I do recognize that Klein is a more sturdy brand. I do think that they're built a little bit better than this, but I don't know. The action on this, just the quality of it, I like how light it is. I think about the Klein ones is the Klein ones, when you do pinch down, they kind of lock into place, which I find annoying if you're doing like a bunch of small, like if you're doing 5-wire for LED tape and you're continuously doing that, it's annoying for me to have to pop it out every single time. This guy is just a wire or just a spring, so it's really easy for it to open and close, and I'm just holding it with my hand, which I prefer just to have more control. This is my favorite wire strippers, and I will continue to use these guys. I've never had one of them fail on me. I'm sure they are because it's Harbor Freight, and so I know some of their stuff is really bad, but I really like this. I'll rave about these guys all the time. If there's anything that you want to pick up for super cheap, you're like, just put in my bag just in case you might need it, recommend this. Like $3 from Harbor Freight. Very easy. The last thing that I have in my essentials kit, I don't use it all the time because I've kind of gotten to the point in my career where I don't care too much if I kind of burn up my hands, but it is good to have, and it's good to have in case someone is focusing lights. You have lights on with a programmer who's not very experienced will just throw a bunch of stuff up on the same time and make the lights get super hot. Just some heat resistant gloves. These are the ones from Dirty Rigger, and they're the Phoenix gloves. I really like these gloves. They don't smell the best because they are leather gloves, and especially if you're, using heat, they can, start smelling if you start sweating in there. So I do need to wash these actually because I'm holding it close to my face and I can smell it. Enough about the grossness. I do love these gloves. I think that they fit really well. Really nice leather. I love the lining on it. The quality is there. I think that these are just great gloves. Made by a really good company. Just some heat resistant gloves. You don't have to get fancy with them. I used some cheapo gloves for a while, but if I did work with people who weren't very experienced on the board and would keep lights up for a very long time, or just continuously want us to touch up lights, the lights would start getting really hot, and so your hands would start burning up. Like I said, I'm kind of at the point in my career where I'm just like, you know what, my hands are gonna burn. Whatever, let's just get this done. It's not worth it for me to go downstairs and grab my gloves and then come back up. If I can anticipate that, I will do that. Sometimes I am able to, just based on what I walk into. But for the most part, I think that these are great just to have on hand, just in case. I love these gloves. And you can see on the gloves, I do have another thing from Setwear. It's a little glove clip. I like keeping it. I just keep it at my side. I do find that sometimes I get caught on stuff, but I do like a glove clip because it reminds me, if anything, to put my gloves, if I'm not wearing them, on the clip. I see people lose gloves every single day. Every single call that I have, there's gloves sitting on the ground or sitting on the counter that people just forget and leave behind. This just reminds me, hey, put your gloves on the clip so that you don't lose them. It's very easy to lose gloves, especially in this industry with a huge, venue that you're working in. But I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. I think that's all I have. I'm going to talk about my tool bag that I have with me also downstairs. So that's probably what I'm going to talk about next time. But let me know what you thought about this video. Try to do a bit of a more relaxed take, just one take type of thing. I hope you enjoyed that. I may incorporate more editing when I feel more comfortable doing that in the future. But for the most part, thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you carry in the comments. Assume people are going to say Leathermans. I understand that when I don't have a Leatherman, people make fun of me. But just let me know what you carry. Let me know what you guys find essential for it. And if this video helped you, just let me know, and I'll try to improve them for the future. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thank you.